Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Thanks, but No One Asked You podcast where storytelling meets unsolicited advice. And today I am joined by Natee Okrah, who is a student at Syracuse University but is living abroad right now in London. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay, let's get right into it and introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi, everyone. Once again, I'm Natee Okrah. I'm currently in Syracuse University. I'm a third year. I'm a triple major. Yes, so it is not. I'm a triple major in psychology, forensics, and information management technology. I have a concentration in cybersecurity specifically. A little bit about my background. Ethnicity wise, I'm from Ghana, West Africa. Yes.
Hey.
I'm also from the Bronx as well.
Okay. All right. And so just to recap, also, you were introduced to this podcast because you know a lot of the students that I already taught. And so
Yes.
how did you meet all of my former students?
Okay, a little bit about me. I'm a LinkedIn warrior. I stay on LinkedIn. For a certain part of my career in college, I literally replaced LinkedIn. I replaced Instagram with LinkedIn. So I was on LinkedIn 24/7. So with a lot of the connections I have, I saw that people like Mark, Nabil, and stuff, like they had connections to you. And I saw some of your resources on your LinkedIn. And then I saw you were starting a podcast. I was like, oh, like this sounds pretty cool. And, like, I know what the college journey has been like for me and, like, the purpose of the podcast. So I was like, "Oh, like, I'd love to give any advice or share anything about my journey that may help somebody else."
All right. So let's get into it. I love that you said you're a LinkedIn warrior. That's the first piece of great advice that I haven't heard too many people say. I don't know if you're familiar with, do you know Fernando Mendoza?
No, I
Okay,
don't.
he's a Heisman Trophy winner and national championship winner in football,
Mhm.
and he's making big waves because he's like going to be the number one draft in the NFL. But he turned off, just like you, turned off Instagram and TikTok, and only left LinkedIn on. And I was just like, yeah, we moving into a new era. I love that for y'all. So, what made that? What was inside you that said, all right, I got to switch it up and do this? What was it?
Okay, the biggest switch was literally last summer going
Hmm.
into my fall year for the first semester for junior year. I was looking around and I'm seeing people posting stuff on LinkedIn. Okay, so we had to actually create a LinkedIn for our one of my classes in the
Okay.
high school. And once I created my profile, I'm looking up my friends and I see some of my friends have like 500 connections. They're posting stuff and everything. And a lot of them had internships. So that was basically my big I need an internship this summer, like by force. Like I'm gonna put in all the work. So I literally deactivated all my social media. I went ghost. I focused on all my school, one to raise my GPA and two to broaden my network. I went on a lot of trips with my school for like immersion trips in my area of study. We went to go visit places like Microsoft, EY, Deloitte, and basically through that I was able to expand my network both in person and on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So a lot of people say, like, even adults, I mean, you are an adult, but I mean, like, people older than you, my age, will be like, so awkward
Mhm.
networking on LinkedIn. Is it awkward for you?
So the thing I think in the beginning, like everything else that you now step into, at first it's awkward. But then once you realize like it's just a different atmosphere of making friends, then you realize, oh, like it's actually not that bad. And a big thing I realized actually is that you don't have to sound like a robot when you're having these conversations. Obviously, keep it professional. But these conversations are literally just like other human beings. Some of them go through the same things that you are going through, or some of them who have gone through the same thing you've gone through but have made it up the ladder in whatever career path they're in now. So it was just like, for me personally, when I'm going to these networking events or I'm even messaging people on LinkedIn, I'm starting with a common ground with like where they went to school or where they grew up or any questions that of curiosity that I have to spark any kind of conversation and then go on from there.
Okay, cool. I love that. So that's what I often tell people. I tell people if you're going to just like randomly DM somebody, look on their page, find some kind of commonality, and then go from there. What's your like, I know it's probably different for everybody, but is there like
Mhm,
a go to one liner? Are you telling them everything about yourself? Are you just
mhm.
curious about them? What's your go to move?
My go-to move, I would say actually is commonality. Like, okay, for
Yeah.
example, well, somebody that I actually just networked with on LinkedIn that I found really meaningful was a girl. Her name is Abigail Ache, and basically she goes on LinkedIn and she just shares any resources she finds so that anybody that's looking for any opportunities or ways to like broaden their skill set or network can find it. And I saw that she posted something about her personal life that like she's Ghanaian and like what the education system like has been like for her here. And I just messaged her based on that, like, oh, I'm also Ghanaian. Like I texted her from there and then we went on into our careers, our goals and stuff like that. So questions like that. But then if it's somebody where I want to learn more about their career path and they're working the company that I want to go into later on, I start by just asking them about like their majors, how they built up from there, what position they started off, if they started in the same sector or they moved off into something else that they like better later on and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. So I've definitely, when I was your age, we didn't have LinkedIn.
Mhm.
That feels really old to say, but we didn't have it. It didn't exist. So everything was like, you got to talk to people in person. And I had no way of, like, knowing how to network, and I
Mhm.
played basketball in college, so we had boosters. Before NIL, we had these, like, people who would donate money, and the people who donated money typically donated money to your scholarship. So there was always a family who was attached to my scholarship, and we
Mhm.
would have these booster dinners, and we had to sit at the table with the family, and it's all these old people that I don't know,
Mhm.
and I kept hearing other people like, "Oh, you gotta network, you gotta network." So I would go to networking meetings and just be like, "Hey, so do you have a job?" And then it took me 3 or 4 times before somebody said, "Don't do that. Don't. That's weird. That's awkward. Don't do that. People don't know what to do with that information." Have you done anything where you put your foot in your mouth and you were like, "Okay, let's not do that anymore?"
I think definitely. I think on my side more it's just getting straight into the, "Oh, what's the company like?" or like, "What's this like?" or "What's that like?" That's where I feel like it could have been, like, eased into a little bit better.
Right.
It's like, if I just have somebody coming up to me just asking about one, I can give you the information, but I don't have any ground of, like, feeling connected to you, so the conversation is not gonna go very far. It's gonna stay very surface level and just like it's gonna feel like I've spoken to any other student who's also asked me a question about the company as well.
Yeah,
So
exactly. You gotta stand out. What's your standout thing besides being Ghanaian? Because you've mentioned it 3 times now, maybe twice,
my
and I know
stand
there's a lot of pride in a
thing
West African.
No,
What's your
yes, I have a lot of pride for being African. I don't know what I would do if I was African. But, I think maybe another standout thing that I've also already mentioned is just being a triple major in general. You
Yeah,
don't find that very often, and I think a lot of people just see it as like, "Oh, like, why not? Like, you could just pick one thing and da da da." Well, for me, it was, like, in a journey of, like, figuring out what I liked, and then it was also to understanding the intersectionality of, like, all of it and how they all, like, intersect and see how they all, like, mesh together and stuff like that. So, I think that's also, like, a standout thing, and then also seeing letting people know I have a lot to bring to the table if
yeah,
I triple major, that I am putting in that extra work, I am taking those extra steps to show that I'm not capable of not only one thing, but 3 things at that.
yeah. How did you land on 3 made I know it was, like, clearly a journey, but I have so many questions. 1, how did you land there, and how long do you have to do school for?
Okay, so basically, I landed here basically by adding a major every year.
Okay.
I would say, like, I added a major every
You can't
year.
even declare freshman year.
Well, freshman year, you could, like, have a major already going into it, but then some people do choose to be, like, undecided, but I already
Okay,
chose psychology as my first major.
okay.
So going into college, I already started taking 17 to 18 credits. So, like, for me, a little bit of insight is that I don't know how to, like, work if I'm not under pressure or I don't have a lot of stuff to do. So, like, ever since I've been in college, I've been taking, like, 17 to 18 credits or, like, 18 to 19 credits. And psychology, I would say, me personally, is genuinely my passion, like speaking to
Yeah,
people, connecting with people, understanding people's behaviors, my own behaviors, and a lot about background, a lot about the mind, a lot about pushing past barriers or challenges. I love psychology. Then I also ended up, well, it kind of like goes together with forensics, a lot about crime and just like it's literally this forensics and psychology is the same thing. You're just thinking about it from a net kind of like a negative perspective or like in a way of like criminals only.
yeah, yeah,
Um with and then I sat down sophomore year and I was like, wait, like this is good. And I don't think that I want to like sit in a chair anymore because initially I wanted to be a forensic psychologist. And I was like, "I don't think I wanna really sit in the chair anymore and just listen. I think I wanna be actually, like, physically, like, doing something or whatever." And with the world, like, changing, like, right now constantly, tech is a really big thing. So I was like, "Okay, like, how can I add something into here that's, like, constantly evolving and that take me up and further my skills to another level?" And I was like, "Oh, like, let me go into tech and cybersecurity." And it so happened to be that, initially I was torn between digital forensics and cybersecurity, and they literally are the same thing, except one is on the government side and one is more on the corporate side. So I was just like, I'd rather just do cybersecurity. And at the end of the day, it still puts all my skills together to be able to be used in whatever career path I go into in cybersecurity.
All right. So you're very ambitious. We get that. What do you do for fun?
Okay, what I do for fun.
What's fun? Do we have to have fun? Does fun exist? I hope you're having fun.
I think that that's a very big reason why I chose to come abroad right now because I forgot what it was like to have fun. Like from having 3 majors, from going to work, from doing everything, I felt like I lost my identity. Like it was just like only used to having responsibilities and there was no more time for things that like actually brought me a clear mind or peace of mind or anything. So I think for fun, like I'm rediscovering that right now. I've rediscovered like going on walks again. Things
Yeah.
that just bring me a clear mind and not having to feel like I'm in a jungle with things just constantly being thrown at me.
Yeah.
So and then I'm also dipping back into a lot of my old hobbies, like finding new shows, like reading and stuff like that. So for fun, I'm rediscovering myself right now. I think that's the best way to put it.
You're like a 40-year-old woman right now.
No, yeah, I hear that a lot. Like, bro, my friends like are so shocked that like my past life was literally on a strict schedule, and if you don't fit into the schedule, like it's just like you're not seeing me, you're not hearing from me, nothing.
Yeah.
So now I'm giving myself back my youth in terms of like having fun, and because I have the whole rest of my life to work and be so
Yes.
serious and be committed to things. But now I'm like looking more into relaxing a little bit, not stressing as much, and that's pretty much that.
Yeah. So, I mean, time management is probably it seems like it comes natural to you because you're just like, it's gotta get done.
Mhm.
But, I mean, do you have good time management, or do you find that, like, you're up early and you're up late?
I think that sometimes it comes in waves. Like there's these moments where it's like every single thing is organized. Like I'm literally working by everything I wrote down in my planner. Like, but then sometimes I feel like I've pushed myself so far to the point of burnout that, you know, the time management gets bad a little bit. But then it just takes me some time to like step back when I'm feeling in those moments and just reset and bring myself and then in those moments actually what I would do is just eliminate something. I'll be like something's burning me out so much to the point where it's not I'm
Yeah.
not even productive anymore. I
Yeah.
just eliminate it or put a pause to it until I can come back to it and like handle each task like when in priority when I can.
Yeah. So I'm usually like that with people.
Mhm.
I like to keep my tasks high, but then I'll find if like somebody or some people are just not I'm just like, "Dude, you're not really giving me anything. I feel like I'm giving you a lot," or I just
Mhm.
feel like I don't really know what the value add here is. It's not really the place I'm at in my life. Are
Mhm.
there people that you've had to separate from? You don't have to name them, but separate
Mhm.
from because it wasn't aligned with where you were going, and if so, how did you do that?
In terms of separation with people, I think that is just it just happened, if that makes sense, like, it was never in a point of, like, me feeling like, "Oh, I had to, like feel like I had to pull myself away." It was more of, like, it's just gradually going away. You
Mhm.
know, gradually stop speaking as much, you gradually stop and then it went away, and then a big thing that I taught myself in the beginning of college is that, like, not everything is always meant to stay, and
Okay.
I'm continuing to learn that in my life, like, these people will come in, these people will come out, and I can just enjoy what I've had for that moment, and then when it's time to go, it's time to go.
Yeah. Who's your biggest teacher? You have all this, like, sage wisdom. Is it you? Is it just being curious? Is there somebody you listen to a lot?
I would say it's me a little bit. I do a lot of I think I probably do, like most of my time is, like, introspecting and just thinking about, like, the way things went, the role I played. the what I could have done, the role that they played. I do a lot of introspection. So a lot of it comes from, like, just me realizing and thinking deeper about the way things went. But then I think also too in the things that I read as well, the things that I watch as well. I read a lot of poetry because I feel like poetry is like in my way that I see it is like plain words, and then you add your experiences and you add the way you relate to things and use that as like your advice for the way that you continue to handle things.
Okay. So let's talk about where you are now. You're in college, and I like to tell college students, and they may know this, but it's you don't know what you don't know. And
Mhm.
I like to remind them that like you're in a bubble.
Mhm.
You know, the world, it seems complex and challenging. And then you leave college and you're like, what is this place? I don't like it here. What do you think you're the most ill prepared for upon graduation? What's something you're like, I don't know enough about this and I wish I knew more?
Something that I feel like I'm not really prepared for is just I was just talking about letting things go, separation, blah, blah, blah. But I think letting that whole, like, past life that I had go in totality and actually stepping into because I feel like gradually, right? Ever since, like, we were younger and we came in, there's always that one thing that we've always kept the same, and obviously it's been school, it's been class, those routines that we know all the time. But to leave a whole life in totality between routines, between people, between everything, and have a whole new thing is
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not really prepared for in the like, at all. And I think also to just, like, through that, like, navigating work, navigating, like, when you find those, like, we no longer have, like, those blocks of time to, like, travel, do anything like winter break, spring break. So,
Yeah, they go away.
then I feel like that's what I'm least I can't just go to my friend's house at, like, 4 a.m. because, like, I don't know, I can't sleep. I just can't
I
do
mean, you
any
can. You
Okay,
will pay
true.
for it.
No, true. But it's just like even when I go back to the city at home, you realize that everybody's on a different type of like it's like you're outside of the bubble. You see that everybody's at home by 12 a.m. Everybody's but then in college it's like completely different. Like you
Yeah.
can do anything at any time, you can do whatever, and those are the people that are on the like the same timeline and like path as you. So it's like normal. But when you come out the bubble, it's actually really scary.
Well, it's not so scary. It's a different schedule and you'll adjust because you are, you're already driven and you're goal oriented. So I think you're going to lean into it really well. It's one of those things that when you have a job lined up and you know what's happening next, you actually just start pouring into like, great. Let me meet the manager. Let me know who all my teammates are. Let me learn the company culture. And then you're just in that. You
Mhm.
know? I think it's when you don't have anything lined up and you're in this limbo that it's really hard to make that transition because you're in limbo, you're trying to figure it out, but also you used to have the schedule and the friends and the whatever. And so long as you nail a job as soon as you can after graduation, the transition should be easier than if you don't. Because now you gotta fill space all this time to find a job. You gotta fill that and balance just like who you are. And so it
Mhm.
can get a little dicey. Okay, so let's talk about I know you're not on the social, so that's great. What's some TV shows that you're watching that, you know, maybe are under the radar that people should be watching?
A TV show I'm watching I mean, okay, now I am back on social media, but aside from that, a TV show I've been watching, I would say what's a TV show?
And I know we always like binge stuff, so you probably already watched it in like a weekend, but
Mhm.
what's something you watched recently? You're like, yeah, I need more of this.
I've watched Night Agent, and I've binged that. It's this, like, show about this girl, her parents are secret agents, but she had no idea, and then she navigates it through a police officer. I've also watched Prison Break. That was a really, really good show as
Wait,
well.
like back in the day?
Yeah, like Prison Break.
The dude with
Like
the white eyes and no hair?
yes, 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 yes.
My god, you were you even born when that came out?
I have no idea, but it's amazing. I was addicted to that, like, every single day addicted to that. But then it showed me a lot about, like, hierarchy and, like, loyalty. I really like that show. It's actually really good.
Okay. I remember when it was out on TV, I just have I was a little bit of I'm not gonna say, maybe I was like a snob, like a
Mhm.
regular cable snob.
Mhm.
When when you have options like HBO or, like, movies, I couldn't get behind ABC or NBC or Fox. I'm like, "I don't wanna watch shows from here."
Mhm.
Except for Grey's Anatomy.
That is good.
That I was addicted to until they killed off too many people, and then I was like, "I can't get behind this." And
Mhm.
then Dr. Gray, she'd been on the show for, like, 18 years. She's been on
Mhm.
the show since I was in college back in 2004, which is crazy,
Oh my
which is
goodness.
insane. She's bankrolled. She's just been making money for years.
Mhm.
Okay, so what are you gonna do with this degree? What are you gonna do after? Do you know?
So,
What do you
yes.
wanna do?
Okay, so right now, I would say I wanna go into, like, fintech and do, like, maybe, like, risk, but then I also do wanna stay in corporate and do cybersecurity itself, cybersecurity engineering and stuff.
Okay.
And that's pretty much that. I feel like since I have 3 degrees, right now I plan to do that, but later on when I want something less demanding and more, like, lower paced and everything, I'd be like a therapist or something.
Okay. Okay, so for people who don't know, define fintech, define cybersecurity.
So basically, fintech is just like tech in like the finance world and stuff. So how you're applying different programming to be able to do certain skills in finance.
Like app creation or like what's an example of fintech for people?
It could be like risk and compliance, or like it could even be auditing where you're like looking at all the going through all the company's records and verifying, improving everything. And with cybersecurity, it's just obviously now that we're advancing and everything is improving. A lot of stuff is based on like networks and what Wi-Fi we're using and what passwords and everything we're using. So with cybersecurity, it's just an idea of like red teaming and blue teaming, being on opposite sides of the team and seeing how strong your security is and seeing any things that you can implement to make sure it stays strong. And also to a lot of monitoring your security. You're seeing alerts that are being automatically generated, and you have like human beings like us a little bit into like one of my roles is that I was an information security analyst. So basically you're seeing all these alerts and you're going through all these alerts, you're verifying any IP addresses, you're verifying any logins and making sure it's the right users using it, it's coming from the right places and locations.
Yeah. Very cool. You could be doing some like hands-on workshops. There's so many people who, you know, I mean, I'm one of those people, I have, like, the same password for 55 different things, which I know is the
Mhm.
wrong thing to do, but I also have a Bitwarden locker. For those of
Mhm.
you who don't know what Bitwarden is, it is a nice locker, an online locker where all of your passwords are stored, and it can generate brand new passwords and things like that. So it's a very big and important space. How did you find out about it?
Cybersecurity? I found out about just like research, like what ways can psychology and forensics intersect and
Mm.
digital forensics, and I saw that digital forensics goes very hand in hand with cybersecurity. It's almost like the same thing,
Yeah,
except digital forensics is more on the governmental side with like the FBI, CIA, stuff like that. Just seeing any like cyber attacks, any ransom, stuff
yeah,
like, and then cybersecurity is obviously corporate with like who's trying to get into admin accounts, who's using accounts from a different part of the country and stuff like that.
yeah. So these are all jobs that pay the bills and will always pay the bills, but sometimes I would dream about jobs that maybe didn't always pay the bills, but I was like, "I would do that job. If money was no object, I would do that job over there." What
Mhm.
is that job for you?
If I could work a job that had to pay no money.
Or just not even that you have to pay no money, just like money rules the world, unfortunately. We live in a very
Mhm.
capitalistic society. You need money to live. But let's say you were a cajillionaire and so you
Mhm.
could do whatever you wanted to do for a living. It didn't have to pay a lot. What would be that thing? I will tell you mine
Mhm.
and then you tell me yours.
Yeah.
I would love to be a pastry chef because I don't think that I'd be very good at it, but I would wanna be good at it. I don't read directions very well. I read directions, I just feel like attention to detail is,
Mhm.
like, really important with pastries. I don't know if you bake, but
Mhm.
I'd be like, "Oh, I don't have baking soda. I could probably use baking powder, right?" No! The science is different. You can't swap those, and, like, being off by a teaspoon
Yeah.
mattered, and it's, like, all those things that I'm not good at, I would love to get better at it by making, you know, tasty foods, and I'm not even a sweet tooth. I like salty stuff more, but I feel like I would be bringing in something I'm not very good at and then getting the result and learning the lesson that way.
Mhm.
What about you?
That's actually a good one. I used to bake a little bit in high school, and actually very right about that. If I could pick a job, I probably do hair. I've done hair for a little bit on the side while I was in college, and I feel like it's a really big passion. One, with connecting with individuals.
Yeah.
Two, with, finding a craft, learning yourself through the craft, and having an identity through the craft. Like someone can look at someone's hair and be like, "Oh, I know that." Or just growing in general, where you see like the beginning and you see how you're progressing, and just having
Yeah.
as well. And also too, with knowing that you're making someone feel beautiful at the end of the day, like you're impacting their emotions and you're connecting with them, you're speaking to them, you're bonding with them.
So you wanna do hair. This is amazing. You could
Yeah.
just open, like, 5 different salons. There's you don't need to go into cybersecurity, you just need to open some salon suites and let
No,
people
yeah. That's in the book as well. That's in the book.
you're like, "I'm gonna do all of it, actually." So do you have an entrepreneurial spirit? Do you feel like, for a long time before I started working for myself now, I always wanted to just work for other people. I had no interest in
Mhm.
running my own business, had no interest whatsoever. Do you have an entrepreneurial, like, "I do wanna run my own thing."
Yes, I definitely think I do. I've had one since I was younger, actually, because my dad's an entrepreneur. So I think I've learned a
Okay.
lot, taken a lot of out of his book. My brother's also an entrepreneur as well. So I think it kind of runs in the family a little bit. So it's inspired me a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, I am. I do plan to go into hair and like the that industry. And I also plan to go into real estate later on as well.
Okay. You wanna live 18 lives. I love that.
I need to double dabble in a lot for
Well,
my
you've got the capacity for it, it sounds like. It sounds like you have the energy to do it, you have the capacity for it. So, that's awesome. I would strongly encourage people to do that. I don't know if you're seeing all the layoffs, but the biggest thing that's been killing people is they get laid off and their identity is gone. And the people who had something that they were working on the side are kinda like, "Well, I got more time to do this now." I can
yeah.
still look for a job, but now I still have this other thing and they're not, like, completely crushed. So,
Mhm.
it's so important to have, well, irons in the fire, honestly, not even for the money, just for your sanity. God, okay, so you have freshmen coming in the fall. You've got
Mhm.
seniors graduating soon. Give them some advice, but don't just give them, like, regular advice. I want you to have some advice that's tied to a story. And I know I'm putting you on the spot, but I want you to come up with an example of like, listen, there's some advice I'd have for them. And here's why I know it's the right advice because I did this, this, and this. This didn't work out. And so this, or maybe it did work out for you. Do you have any examples? And I know you probably need some time to think so we can feel the space.
If I had to give freshmen coming in and seniors about to graduate, I think it sounds so typical, but I
Here it
think
comes.
literally like do it scared, do it happy, do it sad, do it no matter what, and do it for you. Like I think in these stages of your life, you're hearing a lot of opinions from a lot of different people about like one, if you're a freshman, what school you should go to, what you should major in, and at the end of the day, you matter and it's you living that life. So you can listen to that advice as much as you want, but don't make decisions for other people. And the same thing for seniors. Maybe you don't have a job lined up. Maybe you don't know what you're going to do. Maybe everything doesn't seem clear, but whatever is setting like on your heart to do, like follow your heart and actually do it. Because at the end of the day, you're the person that will be looking back at the little you that was 12, that was 11, that was 10, and you're going to be making that little you happy.
Yeah. Do you have an example maybe where you didn't do that or you did that really well?
I think I have 2 examples actually. One of them is coming abroad. So coming
Right.
abroad, I realized I had to let of a lot. I had to let go of my job. I had to let go of like other things as well. Like I had to let go of an apartment I got. But then I realized like this is like once in a lifetime opportunity. Like I'm never gonna have a big block of time where I can just go and live somewhere else. I'm going somewhere, I'm living somewhere else. I'm meeting all these people. I'm putting myself in a new position to grow and turn over a new leaf into another me. So when else can I do that? And I'm hearing a lot of other people are like, "How are you gonna survive? What are you gonna do?" that's just for like for fun, like that you have better things to worry about. But at the end of the day, it's my life and it's about what I want to do and what's gonna make me happy. And it's given me actually a lot of insight. And you mentioned being in a bubble. America's its own bubble, I realized. I was like, you learn so much when you're outside of America and you speak to people. You learn about their history, you
Yeah.
learn how things came to be, you learn about their social standard. Like you just learn a lot. And I feel like coming out of that bubble, I've become more educated, I've become more independent, I've grown more. And if I stayed in that bubble, like what other time would I have to have found it? And I never want to be that person. This is on TikTok actually all the time. I never want to sound 57, 50, and 70 and saying, and I never got to do this and I never got to do that. I never, and it's like everything happens for a reason. So if that opportunity was laid on my lap and I got into the program and everything was set out for me, that was meant for me to go.
Yeah. I love that. I tell people this all the time. I'm like, listen, I give that same advice of like, you're gonna have these conversations and people are gonna tell you, do it this way, don't do it that way. A lot of the times their advice though is rooted in their own belief system.
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, you're going to be the one sitting up late at night contemplating this, that, and the third. You are going to be walking in those shoes. You're going to be eating in that place. Like you have so many minutes in between that conversation and that decision that it's just you. And I think a lot of people rely too heavily on advice sometimes. Like it's there, but like you said, it's take it, but you can't always take everybody's advice. And sometimes you can't take everybody's advice right now. It might suit you later, but right now, not so much. So I love that advice. Sounds like your advice is don't take people's advice and do you, which is so.
To me, it's just like literally filter it because I feel like no matter what,
Mhm.
I can speak to so many different people and their advice has set on my heart. Like it's laid on my heart and I've taken it in, but I filter it in like, oh, this person said that. They also had another, this other person also had another opinion. But it's like I take it in bits and pieces where it does apply to me. And I don't let whatever they've gone through or whatever, like you said, like whatever they've gone through, whatever life that they have had, I don't lay that on myself because we have different lives.
Yeah,
I
we
take bits
do.
and pieces from what I can.
Do you feel like I'm actually gonna be I'm doing a TED Talk soon, I'm so excited, and the topic is actually about the limiting beliefs of adults and how it stifles the success of youth,
Mhm.
right? It's like all the stuff that didn't go well for adults, we're constantly trying to, like, help you by protecting you, but actually we're just limiting your ability because we're so scary
Mhm.
that we're like, "Oh, don't do this," or, "If I was you, I wouldn't do that." Are there people that you've noticed, and again, you don't have to name them, but are you noticing a trend of, like, this person is saying that, but I'm looking at their life, and I'm looking at what they've gone through, and maybe that's why they think that way? Are you making those connections now?
Mhm. I would definitely say I'm making those connections now. I've seen it a lot. Like I've seen it a lot in individuals that I've met. I've seen it a lot in like my own heritage, my own family. And
Mm,
I've seen like, you know, things happen and of course it can leave a mark on people. But I think that if they just gave a little bit more insight into and not really a little bit less of like trauma dumping then it would allow the youth to see straight through to, like, what it is and how they can do it better,
yeah,
instead of, "Don't do that at all, don't venture into that at all," and it's like, it's okay, like, you can learn from those mistakes, but you can use those mistakes to become even better.
yeah. Okay, so now I'm gonna pepper you with some things that people are saying about Gen Zers because you're a Gen Zer, and there's a lot of talk about y'all. I don't know if you've noticed. Do you find that the talk about Gen Zers is more positive, more negative, more just kind of abstract? What are you noticing?
I think it's a mix. I think, you know, they call us rebellious, but then at the same time, they say that we're the first generation to speak up. You know, it's like we got a lot from both sides,
Yeah.
so I'm ready to hear what they've been saying about me.
Well, I can't wait till y'all are 40 and then you'll have something to say about the younger generation and be like, something's wrong with this group. So, one of the things that everyone talks about when it comes to Gen Zers is their over connection to being on phones and on screens. What are your thoughts on that?
Our overconnection to being on phones and being on screens. I'd have to say that I honestly agree with it.
Okay.
Also, too, I feel like if it wasn't for that, it has its pros and cons. Like everything is literally torn in between. Like one, I feel like we can be overly reliant on our phones, and I've experienced it myself. Like, I feel like it's taken away from social skills that I had when I was younger, when I didn't use my phone as much. I feel like
Mm,
it's robbed me from experiences because instead of sitting down and looking at the pretty view, or instead of sitting down and taking my time with certain things, I'm just absorbed in my phone and thinking about
mm,
next, or being sad about something that's already passed.
yeah,
I also see, like, the positives of it and how we can, in a lot of situations that have happened in the world, how we come together and we spread information. We help people become more informed about things that are going on, or in a way to, like, fight back against certain things. Like, and if it wasn't for phones and technology, like, things would be a lot slower and we wouldn't be as strong as compared to before when we didn't have phones.
yeah. Slower, slower. I think we should go back slower, Imma be honest with you. I feel like
I agree. I
I'm like,
agree.
things move way too fast now. I'm like, too so fast that like you said, there's pros and cons, but I feel like if something bad happens, like, we are all in for about 48 hours, and then we on to the next thing. Like, nothing sticks long enough for us to make progress on it because there's just an overload of information that you can't even sit with something long enough to say, "Dang, it's been 8 days since that thing happened, da 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 da." We 8 days later, we done it's a whole whole 'nother event done happened that we now have eyes on, and so I don't know how I feel about it. I'm a little mixed myself. I'm a little torn between it. Another topic that people say about Gen Zers is the loneliness epidemic. They're usually talking about men, but they're saying a lot of, younger people are dealing with like loneliness and isolation, mostly because of their phones, because they're finding community online. Have you noticed that in any of your peers or maybe even yourself?
I think I have actually a lot. And I don't know if it's like more of like both perspectives, because I have friends that have gone to school in the city and they
Mhm.
told me their perspective or how they've dealt with it. Because like going from high school where you're seeing everybody on the daily, you know everybody, to another school on campus where not everything is together. Like the campus is not one whole campus. You have buildings in between things, and then you don't know anybody. And the culture, mostly from what insight they gave me, is just like you go to class and then you go to work. There's not really a lot of time to like find those bonds. I see how they fall into the trap of loneliness a lot because it just makes them feel like they only know what they're used to.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
feel like a lot of them don't move past, like, finding friendships in their adulthood. They only are used to whatever friends they had in high school or middle school, and they find it very difficult to, like, move past those barriers and socialize and network past those childhood bonds that they had. But then in college, I feel like there's a lot of, like, it's like I don't know what the cause of it is. It's like you feel together, you feel like you're on campus, you have friends, you have everything, but then a part of you still feels alone. I think mostly because you've just changed your whole environment. You're away from your family, you're away from like everything you're used to. So it takes a little bit of adjusting to feel like okay and not alone in school.
Yeah.
But like a constant battle because when you go back home, then you feel lonely there too. And then when you come back, it's just a lot. It's just a lot.
Yeah.
But I spoke to my friends and they feel the same way. Like when they get to college, right? It's like they don't feel lonely anymore. And then later on it becomes lonely. And then when they go home, the loneliness goes away because obviously you have your family and everything. And then you're constantly battling between both spaces.
Yeah. It doesn't actually end, turns out. People my age, I've turned 40 last year, in August, and I haven't I have been told it's easier for me to make friends. I don't know what people mean by that. I put in the effort and the
Mhm.
energy. I feel like it's important for you to leave your house. I think it's important to go to things that people invite you to. I mean, you can cancel if you want, but you only got so many cancellations before they stop inviting you, right? Like, so you gotta bite the bullet on the days that you're tired sometimes. You gotta go to the event and go talk to the random person in the corner. You have to actively do things, and I think people are used to friends just happening because, like you said, high school, you're all in one space. But even as you get into adulthood, people find it hard to make friends. So I give a lot of advice on this topic. What's something that you have done that you think works for you that other people could use to make friends when they join college campuses?
What I use to make friends when I join college campus is that it's just like what you said. Imma give an example. As soon as I got to college, as soon as my mom dropped me off, I did a little 1-2, I fixed my bed, and I immediately went
You
outside. I
left.
saw what they had some stuff on the quad, they had this there, they had that there, immediately. Because I feel like in those moments, like, for example, when you're just getting on campus, that's when everybody's in a energetic, friendly, "Let me get out there, let me put" so that's your best choice, that's your best chance to actually put yourself out there and try a lot of different personalities. And another thing is that not every personality is gonna work for you, or not every person who you perceive is gonna have a good personality for you is gonna be a good personality. So you have to be okay with trial and error and seeing what works for you and what doesn't work for you as well.
Yeah, awesome. That's great advice. I love that. Get on a quad, and I'm assuming you went by yourself, or did you go with your roommate, or you were just
Well,
like
I went by myself. By
and so what do
myself.
you do when you see, like, you just walking up to people being like, "Hey, guys, how's it going?"
It's a little bit of, like, knowing some people from the past or, like, if
Okay.
anybody posted that they were gonna come. So it's, like, literally I go by myself. I'm like, "Oh, hi, da, 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 I'm Tay, da, da, da," and then now you have one person next to you. And
Now
you're
you
like,
just collect them.
"You guys heard about something else," and then you're like, "Let's go there," and then they know somebody there, and then, "Hi, I'm Natee, da, da, da," and then all of a sudden actually, that turned out to be the group that I have now. That's my friend group now, like, the people I met from freshman year by doing that, that ended up being my friend group. So it turned
Yeah.
out pretty good.
Alright, very cool. I love that. It's hard to do, and I it's hard for a lot of people to do. I think it sounds like it's not that it's just easy
It's
for you.
not easy. It's not you'll have another thing, you'll have those awkward moments, but you have to understand, like, not everything is rainbows and sunshine. You're not just gonna have those moments where it's like yapping and everything. You have those awkward moments. You have those things where you said something you weren't supposed to say. You have those things where somebody did something weird and you're just like, "What the heck?" And it's normal. It's
Yeah,
normal.
I love that. I
The
think we should
more
just
you put yourself into those spaces, the more it's easier.
exactly. That's why I tell people, I'm like, "Listen, I think we should somebody needs to start, I don't maybe there's a TikTok that exists or an Instagram that exists already where it's just like, let's just share all the awkward moments that happen on campus." I mean, I remember, like, waving at somebody, being like, "Hey," and then being like, "Well, that's not them. Okay, this is awkward." And now you gotta walk and look around or, somebody comes up to you, "Bria, what's going on?" And I'm like, "I don't know you. I don't
Yeah.
remember
No, yeah.
you." And now it's awkward. Or I come over and I'm like, "Hey, what's going on, guys?" And they're like, "Hey," and then they go back to talking as if I'm not there. And it's like, "Okay, I need to slowly exit this conversation. How do I move out?" I mean, all of those things have happened to me, and I think people assume that I just walk in a room and people are like, "Hey, Britt." I'm like, "No, I've been
It
embarrassed."
happens, it happens, and they don't believe it for the social people. They're like, "Oh, that would never happen, like, you're fine, like, you don't have anxiety, you don't have da da da," but
Yeah, I'm
it's
freaking out. I'm hyperventilating inside, like yeah. Alright, that's very cool. Okay, last couple questions that I have. I have noticed a swing in I mean, every adolescent, every teenager, every college student is, finding their level of attractiveness, whatever that is. I didn't really wear makeup in college. I didn't really start wearing makeup until I was, like, mid-20s, but I see now that, like, high schoolers are they're like I think it's called setting,
Mhm.
like, they're putting layers on, and now we've got, like, women with just different shaped bodies, and I just feel like there's a really big focus on that. Do you find that you're, like, trying to keep up with any of that stuff? I would find it I'm not gonna say I found it hard for myself, I just wasn't into it, but I find that a lot of younger girls are kinda falling into that, "I have to do this, I have to look like this, I gotta do lip injections, I gotta do lashes." Do you feel that pressure to do that?
I wanna say not really. Not really in a sense of, like, I just take bits and pieces of it. Like, for me, in college, I got to a point where I'm like, "Okay, wait, like, let's start exploring with makeup," and I'll do it sometimes. I'll be like, "Oh, like, I like it," and then from then on, I'll be like, "Oh, I guess this is the part of me that's growing into, like, womanhood and learning how to do my makeup and learning what
Yeah.
hairstyles I like and stuff like that." But not to the point where it's so extreme. I personally am not really intrigued by the, lip fillers and
Okay,
and
good.
and things work that has to be done to your body because I just feel like it's just I don't have interest in it.
Yeah,
But I would say that in terms of that and, like, being a girl, it's just, like, exploring womanhood and exploring, like, my style with what clothes I wanna wear, what clothes are appropriate for certain settings and stuff like that, but not to the point where I wanna change anything on me.
yeah. Who are some people that you look to or look up to or, like, you, like, follow on social media, you like how they move, you idolize, you're like, "If I can move like that, that's how I wanna move." Anybody come to mind?
Some people I would look up to. This is kinda random, but I would say, like, kinda like Tiana Taylor a little bit. She has a lot of, like, confidence and, like, style and swag and just, like, out there, and she's also from New York, so it's like, you
Yeah.
know, we but, she's one of the examples, and I think also too, like, just people around me, I would say my mom too, she's shown me, like, about, like, what it's like to be a woman and just, like, how she expresses herself and, understanding that you can express yourself in a lot of different ways with what you wear, how you talk, how you act, and all of those things, so I would say them too.
Oh, that's so sweet. Okay, now we gotta get into the tea about Tiana Taylor because I got questions.
Mhm,
So the first time I saw Tiana Taylor was on My Super Sweet 16. It
mhm.
was a very popular show on MTV, which I don't even know if MTV exists anymore. I think it's gone. It's very sad, but they used to have this show called My Super Sweet 16. Have you heard of this?
No.
I think they're circulating her video. They would take, like, these 16-year-olds that were gonna have an extravaganza of a
Mhm.
party, and Tiana Taylor was
One
a
of the
person on the show one time, and her party was lit. Now, I know what she looked like at 16, so I'm like, "Okay, she's had some work done. That's okay. She looks the same still." Now,
Mhm.
the tea comes in with Aaron Pierre. I have thoughts about their relationship. There's some speculation that maybe that was a publicity stunt. What do you think?
I didn't really get a lot of inside scoop of, like, her and Aaron Pierre and
I
stuff like
just didn't believe it when I saw them get together. I was like, "This feels random and strategically placed."
mhm. I
Because he
just
had just done Mufasa or Simba. Who was
no,
it? I think
yes,
it was
yes, 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 yes,
Simba.
yes, yes. Yes,
Yeah.
and Lion King. Just so didn't get a lot of highlight or, like, information. Just kn and, what's who
Iman Shumpert.
yes, I just knew a lot about them. Were, like, laying low because they had a lot of problems going on and stuff, and then she came out to say, like, "Oh, they got divorced," but after
Yeah.
that, I didn't really get into, like, her and Aaron Pierre, so I don't really have a lot of.
I have a thought about celebrities and them doing, like, reality TV. I just feel like
Mhm.
your relationship is doomed if you do reality TV.
No, I think so too, because me personally, if I was to get into any relationship or anything, I don't think I would publicize it or, like, put it out there for. Because one thing a lot of people do from social media is that they just so far as you put it up there, that's like a green light for opinions, for speculation, for accusations, and that's just not something I would do. It's like a setup for yourself, like, it's just automatically you just know it's 'cause eventually it's gonna end because of social media.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I feel like there's just some things that are off limits. I've never posted about anyone I've ever dated, and people find it
Mhm.
very odd, and I'm like, "You shouldn't find it odd. If you're friends with me and we actually communicate, you will know
Oh,
who I'm dating."
you would know. A lot of pressure from outside too, because then it becomes like, "Oh, he didn't do this for his girlfriend, she didn't do that for her boyfriend."
Oh, yeah, they're not posting you, so if they're
Yeah.
not posting you, it means something, and it's like, we gotta cut social media and your relationship need to be 2 separate things. That's my personal opinion. Very cool. Well, you're very good at this podcasting thing. You should have a podcast, sometime, add it to your list of long things that you wanna do in life. The last part of the segment is I give you some unsolicited advice based
Oh,
on
yeah.
everything that I've heard, and then you get to give I want you to give some adults some unsolicited advice because we did have the Google form, and you had to answer that question of like, what's something you wish adults either stopped doing or did better. So if
Mhm.
you've got some on top of your head, this is your opportunity to share it. I'm going to give you some unsolicited advice you didn't ask me for, but you are welcome in advance. You're very welcome. I'm going to say you are already doing things. I feel like we think the same as far as like it's an opportunity, go take it. I mean, you ain't got nothing holding you back. My advice to you would be don't ever lose that. I have a lot of friends that got married and then had kids, and I honestly don't feel like I recognize them all the time. Not all of them, but like a couple. And I'm like, "What happened to you?" You were like, "Go, go, go." And I think at first, being married and having kids was, like, exciting, but now 10, 15, 20 years later, it's like, "Okay, but what are we doing?" Like, I see them yearning for more. My advice is keep that even if you have kids, even if you're dating somebody, even if you fall into a very serious career, like keep that get up and go, get up and figure it out. I think sometimes we get into relationships and it becomes all consuming. I don't know if that's happened to you, but it's definitely happened to me. And I just like forgot who I was and nobody has time for that. So just keep exploring, keep moving. If it means you don't live in the States anymore, don't live in the States anymore. Go live somewhere else, forge your own path, and tell people about it because a lot of people don't think this way. So that's my advice to you. What advice do you have for the adults in the world?
For the adults in the world, I would say life doesn't end when you become an adult. You don't automatically have to act a certain way because you're a certain okay, let's be mature, but you don't have to, like, close yourself off to so many things just because you feel like you've missed the opportunity. So, like, just continue going. If there's somebody that you can take under your wing, take them under your wing, continue being, like, a helping hand when you can. And that's pretty much it. Still be bright. Just because you've gotten older doesn't mean that you have to lose your light.
Oh, are the kids doing
Beautiful.
That was good. That was good. That was good. Well, I'm super proud of you. I'm not your parent. I'm sure your parents are super proud of you, but African parents typically have a very high standard, so maybe they're like, "This is expected," but I'm sure they're very proud of you. I'm blown away by you. Like I said, for people who didn't know this, it was the first person to sign up. She slid in my DM as a LinkedIn warrior and was like, "Hey, get me on here." So you're gonna see episodes before her, but she was the first, and I told everybody about you that I met. I was like, "This person, major, and she don't know that she's smarter than me. I hope she knows, but, like, this is impressive." Like, I'm so impressed by you guys. I was once very much like this about Gen Z, and I was like, "You know what? People used to do that to me, and I didn't really like it, and I didn't think it was fair, and it didn't make sense." And I'm like, I'm not gonna do that because I don't know their situation and you guys are coming up in a different time. So I just wanted to get curious, bring y'all on the show and let you speak for yourselves. Don't let the media talk about y'all. And keep spreading your light. You're amazing. And I'm so excited to air your episode.
Thank
So
you so much, and I
yeah.
just wanna say for you, this literally resonated with me so well. I love to yap so much, so I think this was a great opportunity to yap. But I think, like, even what you're doing and even putting our voices out there as the youth, it's, like, literally, like, amazing, and I think even if people see this, a lot of, like, younger kids will see this and be like, "I'm normal," or like, "Oh, this is okay," or like, "Oh, we're all going through it," and they'll have a little more trust in their journey, and I think it's really good. So thank you again, Britt, and I think you're also amazing. I found a lot of, like, similarities and commonalities in, like, the things that we're talking about, and I do agree that some of the stuff that we think about is similar.
We're the same person. It's amazing. Now, if only I could get to London. Soon come, soon come, soon come.
No,
All right.
London's here, London's stay here for you.
Well, thank y'all so much for joining me today. And next week, I hope to have somebody even as compelling as Natee here because she's amazing. Check her out on her LinkedIn. She's a LinkedIn warrior. So be sure if you connect with her, she's going to connect back and she will yap with you. Holla.